Hey family, how you doing? Al Laws here, your host for Advice for Life, and your my co-host Greg Harris, who's going to be with us and helping us to facilitate this Facebook Live session. Here you are, another wonderful day. Turn it down just a little bit. My wife, of course, is with us.
Hello.
Aisha Laws. Aisha is here, and she's going to be joining me as we are talking about the mask that we wear in relationships. And I mean, we've done a lot around that. So if you haven't gotten to our other programs, you need to go back and look on my page. You can go to Al Laws Jr. and you can listen to all of our previous programs as we talk about the mask that we utilize in relationship. Now, remember, this is part of a bigger series, and the bigger series is really about us talking about how men and women should show up in relationship, and even bigger than that, how we apply family strengthening principles and skills so that we can understand our processes. We can understand how we can relate better in relationship. And so this is really exciting because it makes us and puts us in a position where we can bring to you through Facebook Live every Tuesday evening at 8:30. We can talk about the things that will help us improve our relationships. And so we also have a radio program. The radio program comes on every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. and that's on Heaven 600. So you actually can download the iHeartRadio app and look, search on Gospel, then Heaven 600, and then you can listen to our broadcast. And if you really want to get all of what we've been talking about for the last 2 years, you can go to my Facebook site, Al Laws Jr., and follow me. So I'm just telling all the people out there, I need you to follow me. Go on my Facebook page, follow me, Al Laws Jr., and you'll see a lot of special things that'll come to you as one of my followers. It will also notify you about when we come on live, and it will automatically just show you, give you that alert on your phone or your iPad. You also can go on our website, which is advice4life.us. That's advice4.us. I see a lot of hearts. I see a lot of my folks coming in here on Facebook. I see a lot of thumbs up. Thank you, family. I have some very faithful followers that come on, and all of you are new. I hopefully we'll get a chance to interact with you through this process. So, hey, babe.
Hi, my love.
I said a lot, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Go ahead, Miss Man.
Just want to make sure that, are they letting us know that the sound is okay?
Yep.
Side is supposed to have a caller today.
Yeah. So we're supposed to have a caller. Remember, we promised last week to have our caller, and we ran into technical difficulties, but now we have the caller. I'm telling you, this is going to be exciting. We have Lisa's husband on, Kevin, and Kevin is going to be with us. And remember what I said to you, that the first person that comes, the scripture says the first person that comes to share a matter always seems to be right.
Right.
But then another comes and corrects the matter. So what happens is that when we have our experience, when we share our stories, we share from what we experience, how we view it at the moment. And then another person will come and share their experience. And guess what? The story adjusts and changes. You know how people say it takes, it's always two sides to every story.
Yes. I hope it changed a lot.
Now, we always hope for change. We hope for change. Now, I'm going to ask all of you. I see all you coming on. We're going to jump on and acknowledge you. But I first want you to know, when I bring Kevin on, I need you to be respectful. I want your comments. I want your feedback. I want this to be a learning experience for Kevin as much as also a learning experience for you. But I want you to be respectful and give opportunity for this to be a healing process and not a process to condemn. Okay? So, yes, there's some very tough things that we're going to be dealing with, but I want you to be respectful of the process. So, Greg, I see a lot of our callers on there. They come to view the mask, and I tangled the mask. I'm like, Greg. So, Greg, tell me who we got with us.
Oh yeah, well we have our I'm gonna say locals. We got Carla in the house.
Carla.
and Alex, and we got Angela and Tracy.
Nice.
And so we already have like over 15 or so.
We have the Cheers crew. The Cheers crew is already here.
Absolutely.
The table's getting full here around the table of the Cheers table.
We got Karina in there. We got Victoria in the house.
Hey Victoria, we got our faithfuls coming in.
Yes.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Any specific comments you have?
No comments. Everybody's just greeting and
Nice.
seeing everybody as family, and that really attests to the fact that Al, we've you all have developed a community here.
Right.
A community, and it's so powerful what you're sharing in reference to being respectful, hearing, and being understanding, because this is a learning process, and that's dynamic.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So we're going through our process, honey. I'm trying to get the comments up over here. Can you help out with that?
No, I don't know how to do that.
Oh.
Here you go, Greg.
So what we're gonna do, is doing that same thing it did last night. Is doing it with your iPad as well. That's why I was trying to get you to use your phone, because it would come up better. But
Their comments are coming up in the bottom.
Oh, okay. I'm not seeing them, so maybe Greg can get that. Greg will figure it out. So there we go. Hey, there's my. See, now we can see you. Now we have a screen and we can see you in this process. So, as you know, we've been talking about different types of masks. The mask of denial and the mask of justification.
We did the mask of authority as well.
Yes. We did the mask of authority, and then you heard my wife do this beautiful rendition of, she talked a lot about. Codependency and some other things that she pointed out. She also talked about how a lot of times women respond in those types of relationships, and how they should really stand up and view themselves in that process. So that has been very exciting. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to bring on our caller. So give us a chance to get him on the line. So Greg, if you can get Kevin on the line, and we will continue from there. So look, I have really been attempting in this process to really teach you about and help you be aware of your relationship process. Mm-hmm. And so I always like to repeat this over again, because it's worthwhile repeating that we always are in a process. Greg, hit the recording thing. It went off here. Yes, we are always in a process of learning and growing in our relationships, and that process has to be clear. We have to see that process. And what we talk about on Advice for Life is that we both teach you how to recognize that process in yourself and others, but also to give you the skills necessary for you to be successful as you travel through that process or that awareness wheel. And so when you become more skillful and more insightful about your own process, then you can determine and develop an insight about where you are in that process and where others are in their process. And you can use the skills that you receive to go forth and be successful in that exchange and in that interaction. And so we start with intentions in our awareness wheel. We start with intentions. Mm-hmm. Then we talk about thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And then we show how those things in the awareness wheel are linked together, how they influence one another, and how to determine and find yourself in that awareness wheel. And then from there, we give you skills. We give you concrete skills. So we give you skills about finding agreement, and we give you skills about showing understanding.
Right.
We give you skills. We give you skills of how to reflect and mirror thoughts and feelings and behaviors and all those things that, as we talk to you about these things, remember, we give you really details about how to actually relate. A lot of times when people are talking about skills and saying that they're giving you how to communicate with another person, is really information about that exchange. So they're giving you basically the information to help you understand certain aspects of it. And what I'm saying is that not only you are on Advice for Life, not only are you getting that information exchange, but you're also getting concrete skills that you can utilize to in a practical way to implement and make sure that the communication process is real and authentic, and make sure that that communication process is effective, because it has to be effective at the end of the day. Information doesn't always make things effective for you. You have to be able to translate that information. And so the tool of family strengthening allows you to be effective in your communication. So I'm going to put my headphones on. We're going to try to get, I think we have Corey on the line.
Kevin.
We have Kevin on the line. Hello.
Good evening. How are you?
Hey, I'm hearing a little static, but Kevin, you there?
Yep.
Okay, good. I can almost hear you there. Everybody, I need my thumbs up from my Facebook audience to make sure that you can hear him well. Everybody's thumbing up so that Kevin, they can hear you really well. That's great. So, man, I am so grateful and appreciative that you would join us on the show. First, I want to just say, man, that it really it shows me a lot about you as a person, because I think it takes it's very brave for you to bring yourself and who you are in this moment to talk about something that's very important, I'm sure, to you, and that's certainly important to me and the folks who are with me. Your relationship, that your relationship is very important, and so for you to come and to address it and try to find a way to look at it, understand it, and then maybe take something from that so that you can be successful in how you process and deal with it is very powerful. So I want to thank you, Kevin, again.
I thank you for the invite.
Okay. So what I want to do is I just want to summarize, Kevin, just a little bit about what Lisa gave us. And then I want you to have an opportunity to both, to give me some feedback. Now, remember, you may be talking and I will be listening and trying to give you prompts as we go through. And so please, sometimes I may interrupt you. I'm not meaning to interrupt you, but I may only try to get in so I can help you and help us understand where we are, and to also develop insight into the process that you're dealing with. Okay. Okay. So when we talked to Lisa, we've had actually 3 sessions with Lisa, and she talked about your relationship with her. And she talked about the good times that you had and how your relationship developed. And then she talked about her own process, about how she made the decision to come to, accept, walking into a place of marriage with you, what God was doing in her heart and why she was really drawn to that. And then she started talking about some of the issues and difficulties that you guys had while you were in the relationship. And so a lot of things that she was sharing was about what we know happens to a lot of couples, Aisha, that they really struggle in how they communicate and how they are able to express their thoughts and feelings in a healthy way. Mm-hmm. And so Lisa was, Kevin, she was just sharing with us the difficulty that you guys were having. And she then began to describe some of the things that happened. One of the most crucial things that she explained was in her view, and what she communicated was that she had gotten something for herself to see and to address you about infidelity. And so that issue came up in her conversation and what she was trying to get to you. And that conversation didn't go really well as she described it, and that it actually ended in you guys having a domestic violence or domestic abuse episode. And she, she began to give her feedback and her experience, and we try to help her in her process understand and recognize what she needed to learn in that. And I want you to know, Kevin, that when we're talking, I'm going to always make sure, since you're on the phone, I'm going to speak a lot to your process. And as I did with her, we didn't spend a lot of time talking about your process because you weren't there. We talked about Lisa's process. So I want to give you an opportunity to give us some feedback about what you believe happened in your marriage relationship.
In the short term that we've been married and we are married, there was a lot of growth that needed to be had.
Okay.
I have been married before, but the first time that I was married, I didn't understand what it meant to be a husband or a father or a role model. And I took the time to try to go out and figure that out.
Okay.
There's an aspect of, a young man or a man fighting the demons of who they are and what they're supposed to become. And I try to focus on who am I.
Right.
Behind the distractions of life, because that's enough to become a husband. It is take a whole new responsibility. You could be successful in a lot of things and fail at that.
Right. So what I like what you said already, Kevin, is that you talked about how men and people in general, men and women, are fighting between what they are and what they're seeking to become. And that also encapsulates what has happened to them in their past. And so hopefully what I hear you saying is hopefully you're trying to learn from the lessons that you've had from the past, and you're utilizing them to take you to the next place and level of growth for who you need to be now and in the future.
Correct.
Okay.
Without speaking on it in a bad tone, because I've already forgiven, moved on, and try to empower to make everything more a positive manner. Being a young man that wasn't taught feelings, I had to learn feelings.
Okay. That's normal.
And as I heard at the start of the conversation about communication, men and women do communicate differently. Even though we speak English, we communicate. We have two different definitions, and in order for someone to be successful, you have to be open-minded to the other person's opinion or meaning of something.
Right. So that's
what I have incurred between her and I.
Okay.
Was the fact that our opinions about protection.
Say that again, Kevin.
Our opinions about protection.
Oh, your opinions about protection. Okay.
There's a part of me that there's a part of me that wants to share and give her everything, but if she cannot protect what I'm giving her, I then withdraw, which then makes her feel like I'm rejecting her.
Okay.
Which then leads into, if I can't, as they say, well, your wife should be your best friend.
Okay.
If I can't give her my deepest, darkest secrets or my feelings without it being questioned,
okay,
that makes me think, you know what, I can't trust that with you.
Okay. So let me just stop you right there for a moment, Kevin. So you said some very powerful things. So the thing that you communicated was that your recognition and your experience is that men and women communicate differently. And you were trying to kind of deal with that in how you connect with your wife. And what you were saying to me is that you would try to share your deepest, your darkest secrets to your wife, and you felt uncomfortable. You felt like she was not receiving them in a way which kind of made you withdraw. And you also withdrew because you believed that how you were communicating with her around your concern around safety was different than what she was able to understand. And so here you were in this relationship, both dealing with not feeling completely comfortable with giving your deepest part of yourself to your wife without feeling judged or rejected, and your inability to break this barrier, this communication barrier that you're talking about, which was centered for you around safety.
Correct.
Okay, good.
So with the infidelity, and I don't have a problem addressing that, as I said to her time and time again, that's a cross that I have to bear.
Okay. Say some more about that.
The notion, the actual fact that it happened.
Okay. So you're owning that it happened.
My test.
Yeah.
But how the person got close to me is because I was able to talk. It had nothing to do with physical.
Mm-hmm.
It had nothing to do with, oh, this person is coming on to me. It was just the person didn't make me feel alienated. It didn't make me feel like I was being judged. She didn't make me feel less than a man when I should be sharing this information with my wife.
Okay.
Which is then, when I try to explain that, it's, no, you shouldn't do this. No, you shouldn't do that. Which then turns into a control issue.
Okay. Talk some more about the control issue.
There's no man, from what I've learned, that wants to be controlled.
Okay.
There's
What do you
line.
mean? What do you mean by control? I need to be clear about.
Okay,
You have some
so-
definition about control.
Perfect example, before the infidelity, when we were living together, you get off at 8 o'clock, it's 8:30, why you not here? I stopped and got something to eat. Well, why you ain't called me?
Okay.
Or I'm in the house and I'm going to go out to the car.
Right.
Where are you going?
Mm-hmm.
Who you want to talk with?
Right.
Who is this person?
Okay.
Why are you doing this?
Okay. So a lot of
Why are you doing
questions.
this?
A lot of questions about your activities, your behavior, where you've been. So that's what you mean by control.
Correct.
Okay.
And there's a level, as I've always said, of are you confronting or are you having a conversation?
Okay.
And when I started feeling like it's an argument versus a conversation,
Okay.
then again, I withdraw. I throw up defenses. That's just the normal response.
Okay.
Was it the right response? No.
Okay. So let's just stop there for a minute, because you're right. It is normal. Most of us we usually have a fight or flight response. And when we get to a place where we feel helpless in a communication process, a lot of times we have this tendency to withdraw from it. And the reason why we spend the time, me and Aisha spend the time on Advice for Life, teaching people how to master and become masters at their communication skills and their communication process, is because we want them to learn and have what they need, so they have some options other than to fight or to flight.
Absolutely.
Instead of fighting or running away, like that's the only options, because with all the feelings, the emotions, the thoughts that are raging inside you, you don't know what to do with it in a moment. And a lot of times you're scared of your own self. So you just kind of just back up and withdraw, and you try to get out of it.
Right.
I always
Kevin,
think to Lisa
Kevin, one second.
Sure.
What I hear and what I heard also from Lisa sounds like you had two people in the emergency room, both wanting care and expecting the other to minister to the wound. If she's asking all those questions, then she's wounded and she's expecting you to love her enough to endure those questions. Mm-hmm. You don't feel like you deserve those questions, so then you feel defensive about her asking those questions. So both people are needing something and the other is unwilling to give.
Right. And so
I agree with that. That was a current conversation.
Oh, that was a current conversation. Okay. So let's talk about this for a minute. Let's think about what you said. So I believe this will be helpful as we step through it, Kevin. So your projection about what happened in your experience is that you believe that your wife, well, first of all, let me acknowledge and say and give you a lot of credit for owning and admitting that you did step out on your relationship with your wife. So to me, just from the beginning, I want to make it really big how you came forth and just owned and admitted that without making a whole lot of excuses. Aside from it, you just said it. And that's hard for most people, most males, females, whoever, to admit when they are not holding up to their end or they violated the trust in a relationship. So I'm going to give you that, number one.
I appreciate it. However, the way I look at it, I don't need awarding to that. Accountability is something big to me.
Okay.
And in order to learn how to become accountable, you have to know who you are. You have to learn how to live in your uncomfortable space.
Okay.
And accountability also allows you to change and move forward.
Okay.
My belief about it may not mean much, but it works for me.
Okay. Well, I mean, I hear that you're connected to accountability, and you're committed to that, and the fact that you're here talking with us now and opening yourself to a level of accountability is very powerful. So what I wanted to get to is that you then were saying, and you followed up this admission, and you gave a reason why. So that's why I said you didn't give a lot of reasons. You gave a reason why, and your reason was connected back to what you said, which was that your wife, you didn't feel you could share with your wife at the deepest level. And so you found somebody else who was really, you felt like you were able to share with them at the deepest level. And that's what caused the separation and infidelity in your relationship, correct?
That's not entirely it, but yes.
Okay.
That's where the infidelity part came in.
Yeah. Okay. So So I'm not going to focus on the infidelity at this moment, because I want you to look at your process. I want you to look at what led you there, right? So what I'm hearing from you is that you needed something from your wife. You were trying to get something from her, and obviously she was trying to get something from you. So I want to ask you, what do you believe that your wife was trying to get from you? When she was calling you, you called it control. She was trying to, ask you where you've been. She was, tracking you, asking you questions. Tell me what you believe that she was trying to do for herself.
She needed validation, reassurance.
Okay.
She needed acceptance.
Okay.
A portion of love that was expected from the eyes of a woman that is a wife.
Right. And let me add to that. Those are very good that you gave. I'm going to add to that safety, because that was the word that you gave. So she needed, you said she needed validation and those other things, but I'm also connecting it to what you said with safety. I think she was trying to be safe. I think she was trying to find security in her dynamic with you, that it wasn't about her trying to make you do something or control you necessarily, even though it may have come out with some very controlling behavior. So I'm going to give you that some of the behavior may have come across that distorted her real intention. Her real intention was she needed to feel safe. She needed to feel secure about how you and her were interacting and how you were in the relationship. And so I don't know whether that was because of her own past background or because of her past experience with you. She was trying to get that for herself.
Right. It also is an opportunity. I mean, I know it can be irritating, but it's an opportunity that should be seized to build trust. Because from what I remember, you guys knew each other 2 months before engaging in the covenant of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not long enough to build the level of trust that, from what I understand and what I can see, your expectation upon her was that she was to treat you with the level of trust that is built. You have to build that. And those irritating moments is her desperate attempt to show you how to build that trust in her.
Wow.
Showing you, Kevin, I need you to do this. This is the only way I'm going to be able to trust you. Catch me when I'm dropping off this building. And if she can't be caught, then that you're not building.
Right.
You're not building.
And let me give you something else, Kevin. Look, when I was first married to my wife, I gave her no reason to not trust me. And I told her about the kind of person I was. And I told her I had never been a person that was unfaithful in any relationship I had been in my life. And she had been married previously before. And in that relationship, she was wounded by the dynamics of untrustworthiness in her previous marriage. So when we got married, which was 23 years ago, she spent the first probably 3 years, Kevin, listen to me, 3 years, she spent checking in on me, questioning me a certain way to see if my answer was going to be consistent to what I said there. She would call the office if I sent her a text or something and said I was someplace. She might call somebody else or call. She had this way. I mean, she should have been a detective in a way. But she's that kind of person. She's thorough about what she does. So she was really trying to see whether I was going to be consistent. And you know what I did? I let her check my phone. I let her make those calls because I chose not to interpret it as something personal. I knew that she was trying to get safety for herself. She was trying to establish trust within her heart. And guess what? It didn't matter to me because I knew that I was being trustworthy. So go ahead and I put it on the line. Go ahead and look into it. Question me. It's okay. You can, right, babe?
That's true.
So because I had the patience with her over those 3 years, now after 23 years, this woman trusts me with her life. She knows who I am. I have gained and earned the trust from her through that dynamic.
So I understand that. And trust is to be built.
Right.
However, there's a portion of it. When you go work somewhere, you blindly trust the person that you're working with. When you go into a relationship, and some people say you can't compare the two.
Some people, I think a lot of people might.
Right. But let's be honest here.
Okay.
Trust is trust.
Well.
It's not. Wait a minute. I'm going to share something with you.
Okay. Go ahead.
I did the same. And what I also found out was sharing information is not. Let me tell you what I came to terms with. When you share something with somebody, it's what they do with what you share with them will determine what you give them next.
Okay, say some more about that, Kevin.
Huh?
Say some more about that because I'm trying to listen to you because I want you to connect this. I'm
one
trying
of
to
the
get
things that I had came to terms with after prayer and just trying to come to terms with it, it's like if I came to you, if you came to me and you said, I got a Mercedes sitting outside, a $200,000 Mercedes, and Kevin, I'm going to let you drive this car while I'm out of town.
Okay.
I can make a decision to take the car, park the car, put it in a safe environment, protect it for you. When you come back, the car is protected. You look at me and you say, good job. The next time, I can leave you with my Bugatti or my yacht.
You got some nice
but
cars.
But if I take your car and drive reckless with your car, get speeding tickets with your car, you're going to be like, man, what are you doing?
Okay, so connect that to you and Lisa.
So here's what happened. I did that. I opened up my phone. She would admit it to you. Had all my passwords to everything, had the keys to everything.
Right.
But what she did was, she went through, who is this person? What's this? And when I would explain it to her, it wasn't enough for her.
Okay.
Which then had to make me think, okay, what could I do? Let me, furthermore, try to help her understand.
Okay.
But then when you start reaching out to these people, friends, ex-friends,
okay,
calling the job, what is this? What is that?
Right. So
you know, some jobs, what I make, my job is looking at me like,
right.
Why is she calling here?
Right. Okay. So let's break that down a little bit. So what I hear you saying is that your wife, you believe that your wife would acknowledge and admit that you were allowing her to have access. You were trying to give her access and freedom to be able to deal with her safety issue.
Correct.
And your analogy was that if you give somebody your Mercedes, which is very precious, your vulnerability, access to your personal space in your life because you want them to experience and have the proper experience, that then if they go away and drive it, and they get speeding tickets, meaning they violate it in some kind of way, that would then cause you to question about allowing them to have your Mercedes again.
Correct.
Okay.
Which is trust.
Because of trust. So what you connected with is you're saying your wife, Lisa, you gave her access and you tried to connect and join with her around those things, but she then kind of did some violating things, and she called your job. She called some of the people that were ex-people that you knew in your book, and she was questioning and trying to get information. And so at that point, I can understand, and it makes sense to me, Kevin, why you would feel violated if there was some overreach. And it's natural when somebody is trying to establish trust. And since, as my wife pointed out, she did not know you for very long, so you guys you got married pretty quickly, that it makes sense that she would try to grapple and try to find every way that she could try to establish that trust. So what I want you to look at is that there was a reason why she went to that overreach. It was something that, although you were exposing yourself and giving yourself, there was something that she was experiencing with you that made her continue to pursue that. I'm wondering if you can give me some insight about what you believe she was experiencing and seeing.
My personal opinion, after the mishandling of me, I believe she did not experience certain things in life where the understanding factor. I'm not a person that does a lot of talking. I'm not a person that, pretty much, I was a mystery to her.
Okay, so
the mystery
go ahead.
Can run a person rampant.
Right, but
I don't think her intentions was entirely wrong.
Right.
But how she went about it damaged me.
Okay, so I'm connecting with you. I've already agreed with you that her method and her trying to get what she needed from her intention to be safe and secure, that it was distorted and it came out in distorted ways. But what I'm trying to get you to own and look at, Kevin, is that there was something that she was experiencing with you, meaning that although she may have had past experiences, we all go on our past experience, there was something that, it's just like you said, if you have I'm going to use your example, okay? So if you come and you give me your Mercedes, right, there's certain things that are going to tell me that you really want me to, that you trust me with that Mercedes, that you really want me to have it. You know how sometimes people try to give you things or, act like that they're with you, but you can tell by their facial expression, how they say things, that they really not with you. Like, I've had situations where, I wanted to go, visit somebody, and their response to me wanting to visit them was not consistent with the kind of response I would give them. And so, although I believe that, they should want me to visit, their response made me think, oh, I don't think they really want me to come over their house. I don't think they really want me to be there. So I'm going to be a lot more hesitant about how I respond than if a person is inviting in there. And so I'm wondering whether Lisa was able to experience you being inviting in that process, whether you were displaying behaviors, responses and attitudes, expressions that caused her to say, I need to search this out some more. That doesn't seem comfortable and safe to me. I need to get some more.
And I understand that. And to have a person that's living in a suspicious state all the time and someone's not helping them come out of that state can be uncomfortable.
Okay.
However, when a male, or me in this sense, is going out their way and trying to say, hey, let me show you who I am, and then that person is standing there trying to tell me who I am, we have conflict.
Okay. So tell me, Kevin, I need you to go here for me. Tell me how that makes you feel. Give me one word.
One word, a feeling word.
Yep.
the feeling of that is mishandled.
Okay, good. You got to it. You felt mishandled. What else?
And once you get past the mishandled, it's more of a disappointment.
Okay, so you felt disappointed in the process. So
and then when I go from being disappointed, I go to becoming defensive.
Okay, all right.
Alienated.
All right, nice.
To be perfectly honest, as I was said to her, I felt abused.
Okay. So you felt alienated. You felt abuse. You felt what's the first thing you said, babe?
Say that again.
What's the first thing he said? Abused, alienated,
mishandled.
Mishandled was the word. So what happens a lot of times, Kevin, is that when we have experiences and we're in our feeling level, if we don't process it properly, we will then take those feelings and the thoughts that we have, and they will actually manifest themselves in behaviors that mimic what's going on inside of us. So what can naturally happen, and we have to be careful with this, is because that's why Jesus tried to say, do not return evil for evil. Right. Because he knew that what happens inside of us is that if I feel alienated, then my response is to alienate you, to give you back what you gave me. And actually, it's actually a powerful thing that God put in us to be able to, have the desire to defend ourselves and to help ourselves when we're in a relationship dynamic. But really, when you look at the scriptures, it really teaches us and says that we are not supposed to give back to people what we receive from them. Actually, it says that we are supposed to do unto others as you would have them, or how you want them to do unto you. So that's a different paradigm shift. That's a different mindset for you to then, and Jesus also said it this way, that you're supposed to love those who spitefully use you and persecute you. Love your enemies. Do good to those who spitefully use you and persecute you. So even if you feel like the person is trying to hurt you or persecute you, you are supposed to return love for it. And so, but what happens is that when we have not identified our feelings, and you did a great job identifying your feelings in that situation, then you would then respond with alienation. And you would respond in kind with abuse and other manifestations in your behavior that are consistent with what you experienced with your wife.
Correct.
So that's good. That's good that you see, that you're recognizing you see. And what I want you to get from that is that, so you then giving the reason why you ended up being in infidelity and not being faithful to your wife was because you were experiencing some thoughts and feelings, and because you experienced those things, and some of those things had bases of truth in them, they actually, I understand why you may have felt that way, or why you may have thought that way. What happened is that because you didn't process them properly, you weren't in touch with your feelings, you hadn't really connected your thoughts and feelings together, so that you could then understand what behavior you were about to go into. And so you found yourself then going into behaviors and having actions that were inconsistent with what, if I were to ask you right now, I believe, Kevin, if I asked you, and I am going to ask you now, do you believe that the behaviors that you manifest are behaviors that you would be proud of, or that you believe that you should respond to your wife in that way?
By far, no.
Okay.
The behaviors that I experienced was behaviors of learned. They were behaviors that I used to do.
Okay.
And as I said, when I got married this time, because this is my second marriage, I decided to figure out what was required to be a husband.
So you're saying you had some experiences in your background. You can identify in your action, your behaviors, not only what happened as you were trying to manifest your thoughts and feelings and how they came out in your behaviors, but you can also look back into experiences in your life that contributed to that.
Correct.
Okay.
my past dictated something totally different, non-Christ-like. It was like, screw me over, screw you, and move on.
Okay.
And that's not what I'm supposed to be if I'm a husband.
Right.
That's not even what I'm supposed to be, even if I'm not a husband.
I got you, Kevin. Now you on the path, son. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yes, because it's actually your character. It's actually what God would require of you, no matter whether you were married, you're single. It doesn't matter. We are talking about how God wants us to respond from our own individual character. So I love the fact, Kevin, that you, and what I love about how you are exchanging in this process is that you do some things that is very difficult for people to do, and that's to own their process. And let me talk about that just a little bit. So owning your process is that what happens is that when we go through our process, we have thoughts or feelings, and those manifest themselves, and of course our intentions manifest themselves into a behavior. When we are able to see that behavior, or we see the consequences of that behavior, or other people reflect to us that behavior, or people challenge us about that behavior, it is so natural for us to not want that to be me. Like that, to deny it and to try to reframe it or say it in a way that makes it look pretty, not as ugly, because we really don't want to be there. And so it is very difficult in you and for most people to own their process, to be in a place where they are willing to say, look, I am that man. That's what God did with David when he came to David and talked to David about how he had responded in his interaction with Bathsheba. And that he, the prophet used a story of a lamb and a man who brutally, killed the lamb of a poor person, and he was a rich man. And basically David got infuriated and says, who's that man? Why? Somebody needs to do something about that man. And the prophet told him, David, you are that man. You violated. So when somebody reflects to you and points to you and shows you that you are that person, it is so natural for us to fight and not want to own it and not want to acknowledge it, and to find excuses and justifications for why we do that. And I think that I appreciate in this, Kevin, that you are, as we're exploring and getting to the content, because I think your process is more important rather than the details, that you are now in a place that you are willing to own your process. And I just wanted my wife to weigh in a little bit about that.
I think it's absolutely necessary. And I believe that, in this process that you're experiencing, you also have to identify where you stand now. Okay. So where you stand now, regardless of the details, which we do understand, you're the healer now.
Okay.
Because violation has happened and you agreed that had happened. So now you have to heal. And perhaps you have to endure the very thing that you fought so hard against.
Yes.
Now you have done what she accused you of. Now you have made her identify and feel insignificant and abused. You've become the very thing that you despise. So now you have to heal. You are now no longer allowed to choose yourself as the victim.
Right.
Because you have made a more boisterous noise than her.
Right.
You've made it more boisterous. And because of that, you have to go in and heal her and be transparent, more transparent than you were the first time. When you give her your phone this time, make sure there's limitless. You don't care. It's limitless.
Right.
Because otherwise she's not going to feel more important. Right. And that's what a covenant does. When I married Al, I had male friends. Right. Ask me if I have them now.
Yeah.
I don't. Mm-hmm. Right. And so you have to be prepared to heal.
Here's the thing to that. And I'm not saying that I'm fine with not having friends. But you know who became your friend? Your husband.
Sure, but it took time, Kevin.
Absolutely, it took time.
I understand.
Right. And
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Right. That's right. That's right. It wasn't built in a day.
Built
Right.
That's right.
Right. So I like that you recognize that there has to be a movement towards connecting your relationship in a place of friendship. And a lot of people talk about people being friends in relationship, and we're going to talk some more about that in another show on the program. Mm-hmm. But Kevin, what I want to do at this point, I want to emphasize this, and then we're probably going to have to close out, and then I want to have you back if you're willing to come back.
Anytime.
Okay, and I love that you're in this process, and I hear you learning as we're going along. What my wife was trying to give you, and I'm going to give it to you from the male perspective. Ultimately, we are leaders in our household, and if we want to be leaders, and a lot of times what happens is that men want to claim leadership of their household when it's beneficial to them. When it's beneficial, we always want the benefits and the bennies of that leadership role, but we don't always want to bear the weight of the responsibility. Mm-hmm. And that weight of responsibility is I am ultimately responsible about the outcomes of the relationship that I'm in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So if I'm ultimately responsible, that means that the weight of making sure that that relationship is successful is on me. And so as the leader, I lead in that. And also in that leading, the leader has to be the one willing to bear and to suffer the greatest. You know, you don't want to. I mean, I'm the kind of person that if I had a person who was leading me into battle, and they stand behind me and say, "Go forward, go towards the swords and the guns," I would struggle with that, because I believe that if I'm going to lead somebody into the battle, that I have to be the first person willing to accept the difficulty and the challenge. I have to be the first person to endure the pain. So what I'm saying to you as a husband, you have to be willing to endure the pain necessary for your wife to heal. You have to have the patience to allow your wife to heal. You have to, especially when you go certain places, especially if you go to a place where there's abuse involved, you have to recognize and say, you know what, although I do have things in my past that I'm struggling with and that I need to heal from, the bottom line is that I have to step up and I have to be the one to show more understanding. I have to be more skillful. I have to be the one to allow my wife an opportunity to heal, and not while she's healing, try to get her to heal me at the same time.
So I want to chime in with something before we close out. There was a transition point in my life that I was trying to fight the old me to the new me.
Okay.
And when I sat down and I, said, God, talk to me, he said to me, sacrifice.
Okay.
Point blank period. Just sacrifice. She may not give you what you need. Okay. She may not give you what you want.
Okay.
She may not be nowhere near where you want her to be at.
Right.
I'll ensure that you're okay. And if she doesn't ever turn around, you did what you were supposed to do.
Okay.
And when I came to that point, I said, fine. I stopped fighting.
Okay.
I do pray for patience because, yes, I get mad frustrated with her a lot of times.
Right.
Because I don't want to constantly, every day, fight a rebellious person or argumentative person. But then I had to question, why is she so rebellious?
Mm-hmm. Right.
One of the words in the Bible is basically state, know your spouse. Mm-hmm. I know we're about to close out, and we can speak about that next time around.
Okay.
But I took I took a big part of me to get to know who she was.
Okay.
Along with getting to know who I am.
Right. So
when I say who she was,
right.
Who was her father? Who was her mother?
Right.
Who was the kids? Who was the sister? Who was the friends around her?
The whole
because
family
all
dynamic.
Of them
yes.
make her.
Yes. So that's powerful that you're looking at the whole family system. I like the fact that you are beginning, now we're in the process, that you're beginning to talk about that dynamic and how you view what you were doing. Because I'm really talking now about how you view how you were responding in your relationship. And so what I want to do, the next time we talk, Kevin, is I want to then go a little deeper with your thoughts and feelings and help you see your process, to help you see how what your intention is. Because I really started with the feeling level, because as you said, and it was powerful that you said that a lot of times men are not taught to deal with their feelings. And so I helped you get to your feeling level, because I know if I can get you to your feeling level, I can back into your thoughts about it. I can go and eventually find what your intentions are and help you then see what led you to your behaviors, and then help you look at your process in such a way that you can change within yourself. And then and hopefully between, at some point, I would like to get both you and your wife on so that we can talk about how you can bridge this gap and improve in your communication and heal one another so that you can go forward if that's what God has for you in your lives. So I want to thank you again, Kevin, for being on.
You.
And appreciate you. We will get back with you. And I got all my Facebook Live. You can stay on, Kevin, and listen. Just listen as Greg goes over. Our Facebook family has been there. There's been a lot of chatter. People have been weighing in. So, Greg, tell me what we've been getting.
I gotta get the mic
Okay. So, So I love what you guys are doing. You've been attentive. You've been giving us a lot. I see transparency on there. I say empathy. Somebody, Bernadette said empathy, put yourself in the other person's shoes. And so absolutely we need to be in a place where we are putting ourselves in the other person's shoes and understanding what they're experiencing. Sometimes that's difficult because we're trying to give something or communicate something and not really realizing that, hey, that person has an experience. And that's, we actually talk about that in skill level. We talk about that as showing understanding. So you'll hear us talking more about, this idea of putting yourself in somebody else's shoes by our concept of showing understanding. So Greg, can you you good? Can you jump in? Okay. Great.
Yeah. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay. But yeah, once again, Kevin, just appreciate your willingness to hear, and we've developed a community here that's full of love and understanding. And so Miss Nadira,
good to have
she
you.
shares and says Miss Laws is the queen of speaking the hard truth with love. Anyone else amazed by how she gently reframes what she hears? Abiba, she says, Abiba shares, Kevin, you are being so brave to share your family's story with all of us. Thank you.
Wow, nice. That's a validation.
Yeah.
Good.
Kawina, she shares, listening attentively is an important component of communication.
Absolutely. Nice comments, my family.
Yes, and it was one from earlier. Michael Johnson was up in the
Mike.
house.
Hey, Mike, good to have you on.
Yes.
I'm glad
and he said, here it is. It says, yes, I'm dealing with that right now. Communicate with my lady. We go at it much.
Okay. So remember that we are in this process together, learning these communication skills so that you can be effective in your actual relationships that you're having. Look, all of us deal with that. All of us have to deal with our relationships, and we have to have an ability to master that process so that we can be successful as we're interacting. And so I love the fact of what we did with Kevin.
Yeah.
We started him in this process. Remember, this is not a quick solution process. This is something that we have to look at and examine, but hopefully you're learning from that. There's hope. There's hope in it.
There's hope because the person that I am today and the person that Al is today, Kevin, they're not the same people.
Right.
Now trust is built. There's a castle built now. And so there's hope.
Yeah, there's absolutely hope. There's hope for you out there in Facebook land. And Greg, did you have another jump in you wanted to give, another comment?
Oh, yeah. Well, first, Al, to share with the Facebook family, Al did a training today, and something that just jumped out with what was just shared was Aisha said, a castle is built. Well, part of an exercise that Al shared in the training was he went through all of these dynamics of how to build a house. You've got the land, you've got the contractor, you got the materials. but you gotta have the right tools.
Yes.
You
yes.
can have all those things, but if you don't have the right tools, if you don't have the right tools, it could take you a couple of months to build a house or a few years,
Right.
based on the type of tools that you have.
Absolutely.
So, but that's that. So, Christina,
Christina, hey, Christina.
she shared, I connect with this on a sort of different level. If you give someone a part of you and it's not received the way you want to expect it to be, it truly does affect the way you share part of yourself in the future.
Absolutely.
But the key is to let them know.
Right,
Key
right.
is to let them
That's the key.
know.
So you have to learn to be skillful to, and all of us do this. We measure things in part. We measure things in steps. And so most of us don't just jump in the pool all the way. We go over there and we check the temperature.
Right.
We put our feet in to check it. That's a normal thing that we do. So as you're going on and as you continue to listen to us and follow us, you will get these insights and they will be a blessing to you. Look, we're running out of time, but I am so grateful to have you here with us. Remember, and I forgot to remind you to share in the corner of your phone and your iPad device. You can go over and you can share invite your friends. So you can do that right now before we go off, because it will direct them and notify them. So they will listen to the program maybe at a later time, since they weren't with us from the beginning. Look, you guys have been great. I love your feedback. I appreciate you being with us. Remember, we're going to be on Sunday at 9 a.m. on iHeartRadio. You download the app, you go to the gospel and then Heaven 600, and then you can listen to us. You can stream it live. You can also, everything that we do, both goes on my webpage, Outlaws Jr. Remember, follow me. And I forgot to say this. You guys, again, did a great job with all of the shares. So I had 70 shares. I'm trying to get to 100. Remember, I'm trying to get to 100. So I need you to keep working, keep sharing it, keep passing on the word. I need 100 shares. And I also don't want you to ever forget to go on our website, www.advice4life.us. I'm telling you, while you're working out, when you're trying to just ride on your car, I see all these hearts and thumbs up, people who have done it. They are agreeing with me that they are blessed by listening to these programs. Be a blessing to us. The way we want you to support us is to pass it on, share it, post it, upload it to your YouTube channel. Do whatever you can to support us in this work. We love you. We bless you. And I'm sorry, Greg.
Oh, we just want to just go ahead and again just say thank you, Kevin, and for acknowledging and just being a part. And Bud, we're going to be back in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. So we love you guys. Thank you so much. Be blessed, and we will see you next week at 8:30. I just want to say this. It's going to be a little different show next week, so you don't want to miss it. So stay tuned, because we're actually going to be on the road. We're going to be on the road, so it's going to be a little different and unique. So we look forward to you being there, and spread the word. God bless.